Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. This is episode 75 of the podcast. We're live here on YouTube every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So if you're new to the chat, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new so you can come back and check us out live. On tonight's cast, we are going to be talking about episode 3 of She-Hulk. We're going to be talking about the new Lord of the Rings show, The Rings of Power, episodes 1 and 2, which aired on Amazon Prime. And we've got House of the Dragon episode 2, which aired last week, probably about 3 or 4 hours after we had our podcast. So not great timing, but hey, it is what it is. Without further ado, here's the boys.
Hey, what up, Vento?
How's it going?
How's everyone doing? We have so
Bro.
much to talk about this week. What happened?
Do you know what's crazy? And I was only thinking about this today as well. I think isn't Andor on like the 21st of September as well? So there's going to be like a point where we'll have She-Hulk, we'll have Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Andor all on at the same time. Like it's going to be insane.
We've been dealing with such a drought.
We're so spoiled. But like when I think about it, I think like, oh yeah, we have a drought going on. But at the same time, it's like there's actually not. There's so much going on. There's so much stuff out there. Like it's crazy. Now, some of it, like, it's not a lot. Sometimes it's like not a lot of Marvel stuff or it's not a lot of Star Wars stuff. But the fact that we have Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones running at this in the same week is wild to me. Like,
what year is
insane.
this?
I know, it's wild. It really is. What do we want to start with? I know we're a Marvel podcast primarily, so I was thinking we just get She-Hulk out of the way.
Yes.
And then we twerk right into Lord of the Rings.
Starting early, huh?
Look, it had to be done. That's what the entire internet's talking about. Let's just get it out of the way. Just before we kind of go into that as well, I went to the cinema yesterday. I got a chance. I didn't think it was going to be possible, but I got a chance to actually go see No Way Home. They had a couple of like small screenings in selected cinemas around the country, and I got to go see it. There was a dude dressed as Spider-Man in the lobby and everything. Like they went full send on it. It was incredible. Loved it.
How was the updated version?
Yeah, I really liked it. And I think there was more than 11 minutes of footage in it as well. So I was loving life. It was really good. Lots of new scenes from the high school and stuff like that. Betty Brant has a few new scenes. You see her like interviewing people and stuff. And it's actually kind of cool because I presume in the next movie, she's probably going to start working for the Bugle. So I think they needed to kind of tie that in a bit more for people who don't know that she becomes a reporter and all this stuff.
Right.
And they had like a really nice message at the very start. Like, so the movie starts, and before you even see the Marvel logo at the start, it's got like webcams of like Tom and Toby and Andrew, and they're all like just thanking people for the success of the film and everything like that. And it was a nice touch at the start of the film. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really nice, really nice. But yeah, I loved it. I loved the pacing of the film. It was a lot better. There was like they put in a second scene with Matt Murdock as well. And
what was that? I want to hear about that one.
So yeah, the scene basically is so after the first scene where you watch the first scene where where he catches the brick and stuff, the one that was in the final cut of the film, he says to Happy at the very end, he's like, "You're going to need a good lawyer," and then he catches the brick and he's like, "I'm a very good lawyer." So then it cuts later on in the film, just before the scene where where Peter brings all of the Sinisters back to Happy's apartment.
Okay.
So, and it links in so perfectly. I don't understand why they took it out of the film, bro. It makes no sense, right? Because what happens is, when they're trying to get in the door, basically it cuts to a scene of Happy being interrogated, and like he's got like the whole DODC across from him, and he's sitting beside Daredevil, and basically his phone goes off and he looks at his phone and it's like a picture of his camera, and he sees all like Doc Ock and everything standing outside his apartment, and he presses okay to let them in. And then, there's a funny line where basically Matt's kind of like, "Happy, will you please stop sweating?" Like, and it's like, obviously, because he could probably smell it and hear it and see it and all. So it was brilliant, bro. It was a fantastic little scene. And I'm like, why didn't they leave this in the movie? It was ridiculous.
Right.
I think I spoke about it on the podcast as well. There was a scene with Tom Holland's younger brother. I think I spoke about this before, where they left him hanging upside down for like 8 hours or something like that. Like, and it was Tom doing it to like rip the piss. They put that scene in the movie as well, and it was done really well, because that scene led to him getting the green paint thrown on him, and that was why he got the green paint thrown on him, because he had his brother upside down and all. Again, it was just another little scene that just made so much sense, and I just don't understand why they cut it. It's insane.
Man, like maybe on the first viewing of it, it kind of ruins like the pacing of the movie, or like it's not a better movie because of those scenes. But on the rewatch, it's like it adds to it because those are new versus stuff you've already seen.
Right.
So they feel a little different.
the pacing for me was so much better, and I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to like Marvel movies and all being so much longer now. Like I sat down after I left the cinema. I went to see this like an early afternoon show. By the way, the crowd was just crazy. Like when Andrew and Toby showed up, everyone was screaming and everything. It was like at the first viewing again. Like it was nuts. The atmosphere was crazy. It was so cool. Yeah, it was really good.
So are those extra scenes they added in, are those like officially MCU canon now? Like is Matt Murdock being Happy's lawyer official?
I believe so, yeah. I believe so. Yeah, because I think it's like a new edit of the film, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did release it digitally as well. I really hope they do, because I want to watch those scenes again, because there actually is a lot to take in. And I think there was I would love to watch it again and just break it down further, but I believe there was a couple of dialogue scenes that I didn't recognize, like one from Willem Dafoe's character, where basically he mentioned something, and I think he's referring to Madam Web, but I don't know. It's kind of cryptic, but the way I read it, it was just like I felt like he was talking about Madam Web. I don't know, but again, I need to see it again and kind of break it down further. But it was epic. It was.
I'm glad you got to see that, man. That's awesome. I knew you were like just devastated because you didn't think they were going to bring it over to Ireland, because you're such a smaller market compared to everyone else.
It was so fantastic, bro. Like, and I don't even know what made me think about it, but I was just like, oh, I'm gonna check and see, because I knew it was National Cinema Day on Saturday. So I was like, I'm just gonna have a look and see what films are showing. And I saw No Way Home and 3 showings in the day, and I was like, I'm gonna try and book one of these. And I got like the big IMAX screen, and I got 2 tickets like it down the back as well. I was like, this is just perfect. Like, it was poetry, bro.
Yeah,
that must have been so great.
I was so happy, dude. I was so happy because, like, honestly, and like now after watching that movie again, like it's solidified for me. It's in position number 2. It's in my second favorite MCU movie, just behind Infinity War. I love that movie so much, bro.
And it's amazing how it only took maybe about 11 to 15 minutes extra just to kind of really sink it in even further.
I really hope that you guys can see this edit of it, because it really helps the movie. Really does. It really helps it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see if it was going to be coming to the movie theater, because I've had such a long week that like going to the cinema wasn't even in my mindset. Yeah. I was like, dude, there's no way I can make it out to a movie theater. So I really do hope they put it out digitally, because I would love to see it. I would love to see the extra clips standalone by themselves, like on YouTube. I would be down for it. But if they actually show, do a full thing on Disney Plus, that'd be the best case scenario.
I don't know if that movie's going to air on Disney Plus, because I know they have Homecoming, but they don't have Far From Home. So I don't know if they're actually going to get No Way Home. I think No Way Home's too big of a movie for Sony to agree to let them put on a streaming service. I think you're going to have to probably purchase that digitally. Is there is there a place where you can watch Sony digital stuff online? I don't even know, bro.
Amazon Prime probably to rent it. You know what I mean? Amazon usually has a pretty good collection of everything, and you just got to rent it.
Oh, okay. Like that's not available over here for us. Like we just have Amazon Prime, and that's it. Like, you can't.
You don't have Prime Video? How are you watching Lord of the Rings?
No, we have Prime Video, but we don't have the option to like rent movies that aren't streaming on Prime. If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we don't have that here. You can do it on Apple though. Over here, you can rent anything, like their new releases. You can buy it for $16 or whatever. Like, and but yeah, like I don't know. I don't see a point of doing that. That's just me.
Yeah, it's really weird how bad it's gotten in terms of the streamers and where everything is, how siloed off everything. Like, why doesn't Sony just kind of deal with Disney Plus and let the Spider-Man stuff go up on Disney Plus, please?
But like, why do they have No Way? Or sorry, Homecoming, but they don't have the other movie? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's part of the MCU canon. Like, it's really weird. And I was only thinking about it the other day. But do you remember that scene that Jake Gyllenhaal has in that movie where he's talking about 616 and stuff? Does he say he's from 838? I think he does. I think he says he's from 838.
I would say yes, because I think I remember hearing like people on the breakdown YouTube pages and stuff mentioning that.
Yeah,
I couldn't like tell you that 100%.
I'm like, how? Because I know they all scripted that and made it up. So it's like, how did he know to say 616 and 838? That's what I don't understand. That kind of pisses me off if I'm being real.
833.
833. Okay.
So close.
Yeah.
How do you know they numbered them though? You know what I'm saying?
Just while we're talking about 838, did you guys see the supposed leak of the after credit scene from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness that was cut from the movie?
No.
Oh my god, strap in, boys. So apparently there was an after credit scene that was cut from the movie. The scene, I'll describe the scene to you. So basically, it like pans to like someone sitting in an office, and it basically like goes over the shoulder, and you see it's like a CCTV, like someone watching a CCTV video of Wanda's attack on the Illuminati. Pans back, and it's John Krasinski watching the footage of the fight happen, so he's still alive. And then it pans back out again, and he's in the Baxter Building.
A life model decoy.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So rumor has it is that Krasinski's actually going to come back for more. He's still alive.
Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah.
Krasinski was good. You know, he wasn't my favorite. You know, I'm just saying. I know he kind of looks the part, but I think there could be others. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right.
But I'd be down for him to come back. I think it was a lot of fun seeing him in that role.
I think so too. And if it's in a different universe, like why not? You know, they can just do whatever, and then just you know, keep the 616 then for all the main stuff, the main continuity.
Yeah. I just hope we don't get to a place where it's like we only want to see big name actors casting these roles because we know who they are. And because like we would have totally missed Chris Evans, you know, if that was the case. We would have missed Robert Downey Jr. because so many people were trying to cast other people and almost got it. Yeah. The MCU does a historically fantastic job of finding actors who aren't necessarily well-known actors and big Hollywood stars and turning, you know, eventually they become it because of their MCU roles, but they really do find these kind of like diamonds in the rough who match the characters perfectly and just fit it so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy to think that, you know, Chris Evans, he may be like kind of semi-unknown if he wasn't picked up for Captain America. Like, you know, like I knew who he was, but kind of just from like those like teenage comedy movies and like rom-com shit and all. So you wouldn't think of him as a serious character or a serious actor. So
you would think of him as a Jensen Ackles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
That would have been his career. He'd been like, you know, good.
Not even Sean William Scott sort of shit. Like, you know,
yeah,
that's what I had him as, like an American Pie kind of, like, you know, that sort of vibe off him. So yeah, like it's just crazy that he was just hoisted into the main stage, you know. So and like I watched Infinity War last night and Endgame back to back, and Jesus Christ, like what a day yesterday for MCU for me. Like, but just Chris Evans is in his prime in those movies, man. It's insane, and like Thor's in his prime, and it's just honestly that time, like 2018, 2019, is just so special in the MCU. It's just insane. Like I know we've got loads of amazing stuff coming, but I genuinely don't think that they're going to be able to top what they've done for the end of that saga. Like
it's going to take us a while to ramp back up to the level of that, right? You know, because we felt like the MCU was on such a roll, and it was, where every film was amazing, every character was reaching the peak of their arc and completing, like it was just amazing movies. And that's, I think, part of the reason why it kind of feels so empty right now and not like as full is because like we're starting over. They're starting over on so many different storylines. That, you know, it's how is Moon Knight gonna have the same impact of Thor has on us when he's been in like, you know, one show versus Thor's 5-6 movie appearances.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like, if you think about it, this feels a lot like a new Age of Heroes kind of situation. It's almost like we're going to get it's like you said, we're getting a restart. So we're getting a kind of like a new batch of people, but we also have the older people coming through to kind of teach those new people. It's kind of like the Young Avengers kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And I know that we're getting, you know, Midnight Suns pretty soon. We're getting the Thunderbolts. We're getting different teams, which I'm actually really excited about. I love the Avengers, but I just love that there's other teams that they can explore and they can get into. And I'm actually really excited to see the Midnight Suns come through. That's my most anticipated one.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Do you want to just break down She-Hulk real quick?
She-Hulk episode 3. Man, I feel like She-Hulk has been the most TV feeling MCU show to date, where it doesn't feel like we're watching like a short movie told over a couple of different episodes, or like a longer movie told over a bunch of episodes, but like every episode feels almost like a sitcom episode. And it's not bad, but like that's almost kind of like what I hate about it in a sense. It's like it just feels like normal television with like, hey, there's She-Hulk and she's a superhero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I know that's what they're trying to do, but I think I think it works, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like I love all her like fourth wall talking, like, you know, when there's that scene where they're in the bar and she's like, "Ooh, syncing up the A and B stories and all, very good." And like I love that sort of stuff. I think it's great, you know.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you think, bro?
Yeah.
Need to know.
This
need to know.
This really is the most TV/sitcom of a show like that we've seen in a long time, especially for MCU. And that's exactly what they've been pushing to us this whole time. It's not like with Loki where you think it's going to be funny, but then it gets serious, but then it gets funny, and then like it just gets really like out of place here and there. When honestly Loki should have been like wackier, the wackiest shit, like just crazy, crazy, crazy. This one is streamlined. It's like this is Law and Order stuff. This is like silly shit. Like we really didn't need to see like any sort of like courtroom antics this early, but I love that we did because it was actually tied to the new Asgardian area. You know, it's like an elven princess, like from from the new Asgard area, who just happened to come into New York and get with that pug guy.
that was fun.
And you know, when I say, you know, I don't like it or whatever, like I totally think it works for what they're doing. I think it works for a lot of people. It's just like for me personally, I really hate sitcom normal like television. I got no time for it. You know, stuff that shows up on the CW, I can't watch it. Things that come out on NBC or ABC, you know, all the like the big standard television here in the States. I just can't stand those shows. I got no time for them. They bore me. And so that's where I think the She-Hulk show is, where it's just like fun television that's like whatever, when that's just historically never been anywhere near what I want to do in terms of watching stuff. You know, the MCU has always been like over the top action, but with like really great character exploration and, you know, great moments and tying stuff together. I just don't think that show has it. She-Hulk, I think, definitely is missing the mark for me in a couple of ways. And the other one for me would be that I don't really think they're exploring what She-Hulk is for Jennifer Walters, where, you know, Bruce Banner really hated the Hulk because he kind of personified anger and he was kind of embarrassed about it. He could never control himself. Like with She-Hulk, she actually likes being She-Hulk. You know, she doesn't want to stop being She-Hulk because she's supposed to be this huge nerd who's socially awkward. No one paid attention to her. She was like just a small shell of a person in real life that no one paid attention to. And then she becomes She-Hulk. And it's like, that's what clicks for her. And she wrestles with that. And there's, you know, we're 3 episodes in and it doesn't look like we're even coming close to that.
No, yeah. And that's one of the things I really love about this show is the fact that they are going like not super comic accurate, but in terms of personality, they're very comic accurate with She-Hulk. She's going to strut her stuff. She's very confident. She becomes a little bit promiscuous at times, and she just has fun with it. And that's the difference between Bruce and Jen is Bruce has a lot of problems. He has you know, dissociative identity disorder, which is why he has multiple personalities within himself. And with Jen, she's literally the perfect version of a Hulk that would ever, you know, live. And that works in this case because now she's like, well, I like this. Like there's really no detriment to this other than the fact that if she transforms after trying to get drunk as She-Hulk, she gets a hangover.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. What was your kind of standout moments of the episode? I really liked Wong. I thought Wong was very good in the episode, and the trial for Abomination I thought was quite good as well.
Yeah, Wong coming in, always fun to see Wong, right? It kind of felt like Wong was like pulling one over on everybody though, like he wasn't being truthful. He was just like trying to obfuscate what he was actually doing with the Abomination, because why would he need to practice being the Sorcerer Supreme when he's already the Sorcerer Supreme? You know, like he doesn't need to fight Abomination in a you know, Madripoor or whatever fight club, because like that's not a thing that you need to do as the Sorcerer Supreme. Also,
this is after the blip, right? So he, like, you know, he's already been the Sorcerer Supreme for a couple of years, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So like he's not 100%, and I think the actor was totally like he was totally playing it that way, where he was, you know, not being truthful and trying to be coy and but still try to help Abomination out of trouble because he knows how much trouble he got him into.
Right. Yeah. And during that scene, actually, with Wong not showing up for the longest time during the trial, what do you guys think was going on? Do you think Multiverse of Madness might have been happening?
No,
because you have to think about it this way. During the time that it takes to actually get to trial, it can take months. It can take a while. Like, you have to think of it in terms of like regular stature. You know, people don't just be like, okay, let's start the case, and then the next day they go in. Like, it's set at a certain time. Wong came in when he was available. Wong couldn't come in right away. I think he was dealing with stuff, and I'm thinking that it could have been Multiverse of Madness in between.
I don't think it is, because I like your train of thought, but I don't think it is, because I think if you go onto Disney Plus and look at the timeline order, I believe this show happens after Multiverse of Madness.
Really?
Yeah.
In the timeline. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think when he would have the time to, and why. This would be taking place after the scene in Shang-Chi, right? And you did say it takes stuff long to go to trial, but this is like a bail hearing that was already set at a prison.
That's true.
So, maybe it's just a couple days after that. But I also thought it was interesting that Wong mentioned that they weren't going to try a memory wiping spell again.
Yeah,
that was
which is kind of has implications in the canon, because
how does Wong know?
Right, but that's the thing about being the Sorcerer Supreme. It actually comes with a thing like, hey, memory spells don't work on you. Like, Sorcerer Supreme isn't necessarily just a title. Like, it does give you certain things within the universe that you're protected from, and one of those things is like memory spells and time spells. So the Sorcerer, like, he remembers it. He knows who fucking Peter Parker is, bro.
Let's go.
They got to keep their mind strengthened, and they can't. Imagine how easy it would be for like some other sorcerer to be like, forget everything about your spells.
Yeah.
And, like,
So I saw just talking about that spell, actually. So I saw a breakdown on TikTok the other day, and they were talking about, like, do you remember when the spells first cast, and Peter's like, oh no, I need Aunt May to remember. I need, like, my girlfriend. I need Ned. I need this and that, and I'm happy and all this stuff. And basically, he goes, you made me break that spell. You made me rewrite that spell 6 times. And Peter's like, no, I did it 5. And he's like, no, 6 times. And so a lot of people were theorizing that maybe the 6th time that he edited the spell was for him to remember too. So then Strange would remember as well. But I don't know, because like then and obviously after watching that theory, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And then obviously I got to watch the movie again, and when I was watching it again, I had that in my mind when I was thinking about it. But at the very end of the movie, Strange does a brand new spell, so it's not the old spell. It's a brand new spell for everybody to forget who Peter Parker is.
Yeah,
everyone knows Spider-Man, but no one knows who Peter Parker is.
Gotcha.
But I've got the timeline order up now. So officially, according to Disney Plus, Multiverse of Madness takes place, and then Hawkeye's after that, then Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and then Miss Marvel. So that's the official timeline order.
Gotcha.
That also makes sense, because like the plot hole in my sense would be like, well, he's fully healed by then, so because he comes in and he's not all cut up or anything. So I guess that puts a hole in mine.
Yeah. That thing's gonna stick out for a lot of people for a long time, I think.
Oh yeah, but the one scene I really enjoyed was the fact that the fourth wall breaking and saying that like this show isn't really all about cameos, and I like that's a big nod to saying like, yes, there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to show up in this show,
but it's still my show.
yeah, like but that's the thing is like no matter how much he tries to say it, we all want extra cameos. We all want those cameos to come in. And so like I think Matt Murdock is eventually going to come in. We're going to see Daredevil in the yellow suit. Any ideas on who else we might be seeing that we haven't even mentioned yet?
Do you know what I heard? I heard that they reached out to Sony to get a Spider-Man cameo, and Sony turned them down.
Damn.
Sony said, no, you're not putting Spider-Man in the show.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Fucking motherfuckers, bro.
Protect the brand, baby. Protect the brand.
It's only going to strengthen the brand, in my opinion, but okay. Hey, Sony, you want some free money? We'll do all the work, but we'll just give you a fat paycheck. No. We don't want money. Okay.
Look, it might not hurt it, or it might not help it, but it might not. It's definitely not gonna hurt him. You know what I mean?
This is what I mean. It's
100%.
100%. But you don't even need to show Tom Holland's face. And I said this last week as well. It's like, just put a dude in the Spider-Man suit who looks like Tom Holland,
right?
And reuse some old lines or whatever. Like, he doesn't even have to say anything. Just put him in there. So
well,
annoying, bro.
You know, Spider-Man isn't Tom Holland. Spider-Man is Spider-Man, baby, and Sony knows that shit.
True.
Well, it's not. I think that's why they did the mind wipe, was so that they could be like, let's just make everyone forget who, like, the Tom Holland character, and just throw whoever we want in later if need be, if Tom Holland decides not to come back.
It is a pretty crazy fact that could have been Tom's last film. Like, he might be gone, you know. And to be honest, like, I think he's got like grounds to stand on for it, because, you know, I only saw during the week there that they announced that the actress who's playing She-Hulk, I can't think of her name right now.
That's Tatiana Maslany.
She got paid $15 million for this season of this show.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Tom Holland, yeah. I don't think Tom Holland has made that much money with all of his movies combined. Like,
15 million?
Yeah, he did. He's not
by now.
No, I looked it up. He got paid $250,000 for Civil War. He got paid like $500,000 for Homecoming, but then he got an extra $1 million in like box office like bonuses. But if you add up all the money that he's made, I'd be surprised if he's crossing 15. So I understand why he's sitting there going, lads, I want more money. Fuck this. Like, he probably signed a stupid contract when he was 17 years old for what he thought was amazing money at the time, but he was just a kid. And I'd say he's probably locked into a contract for so long. And I'd say his contract is probably up now, and he's going through some serious renegotiations right now, because it's like, I am the leader of the MCU right now. Robert Downey Jr. is gone. I own the Avengers. Like, you know what I mean? He is the leader of the Avengers right now. Like, if Spider-Man's standing there, like, he's not listening to Sam Wilson. Like, you know what I mean? It's Spider-Man.
I mean, first off, I can't believe she got 15 million for a TV show.
It's insane.
In season 1 on a brand new character. That's nuts.
It is. Yeah. It's insane. Fair play to her. Fair play to her. She's got a good agent. She's negotiating contracts correctly, because she's making bank.
And she probably signed a long ass contract to get that done. You know, she probably is in the MCU as She-Hulk for a long time, kind of like the Hulk was. That makes sense.
I believe Ruffalo let it slip in an interview that he said that She-Hulk will be appearing in every single like Avengers movie going forward and so on. Like, she is going to be a main character. Like,
got him.
Which is great, because we need a character like that. You know, it's great to have someone who's strong and also able to think properly. You know, I know we have Smart Hulk and whatnot, but he needs to go back to Savage Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the worst for Tom Holland to roll it up either, bro. He's done 6 movies as Spider-Man, right? Like, he's done 3 main titles. Then he's done Infinity War's Endgame. Or I guess the Endgame, and then Civil War 2. Like, he's put his time in.
Yeah. I hate that they like are in that mindset that it's like, oh, this guy's done 6 movies, let's recast. Like, it's like, you know, let him do 3 more. Like, you know, let him just keep going. Like, I don't want them to replace him again, especially with the MCU. You know, like, do you think Spider-Man's just out of the MCU now, and then, you know, Secret Wars happens and he just pops back in like, hey guys, what's up? You know, it's like, no, I don't want that, bro. I want another trilogy. I want him to still be in the MCU. I want him to interact with other characters from the MCU. Like, Feige has said that Spider-Man and Daredevil are going to be leading the street level heroes. Like, so, you know, they have plans for Spider-Man. Fact.
Yeah. I would not like to see Tom Holland leave, you know, although he's not my favorite Spider-Man. He is, like you said, he's the MCU Spider-Man, and that would feel weird for him not to continue that. But I would assume that they're gonna try to ramp up Miles Morales as fast as possible and get him in to be like the MCU Spider-Man, so they can just, you know, do whatever.
I think so.
Yeah, but
I think Sony will do that, not MCU.
Yeah, because anything that's related to Spider-Man or Venom is part of Sony. So that's why you can't really even say certain words that associate with Spider-Man or Miles or Venom.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy stuff, man. Like, it was the same thing.
Contract did they sign? Jesus Christ!
It was the same thing that they signed with Fox. Like, remember when they couldn't say mutants in Age of Ultron? They had to call them, like, I think, gifted or gifts. And it's just the principle of it, man. Like, the moment you call it mutant, guess what? Fox walks in and is like, did I hear mutant?
Yeah. And I think that's why they haven't announced any mutant projects yet, because they still have these looming contracts till 2025. So they they like, I saw someone speaking about it. It's like, well, technically we could get a Wolverine, but they might call him Weapon X or something. And, not call him Wolverine, not call him a mutant, but then we get introduced to the character. And then the second 2025 hits, oh, by the way, I'm Wolverine. Yeah, so I don't know.
Isn't it funny how the fan bases, or a large part of the fan base, has turned from being mad that they can't say the word mutants in the MCU to now being mad that they're using the term the mutants instead of the X-Men?
Yeah,
right.
I know, bro. You just can't make these people happy. Like, there's always going to be a group of people that are just pissed off for no reason. Like, and I got to talk about like the whole like boycotting thing. Like, there's been so many scenes in the MCU of like people dancing stupidly. Like, look at the end of like Guardians 1. Like, Chris Pratt is like hip thrusting and like basically like humping the camera and all this sort of shit. And like the second they put in a twerking like moment, like so many fans are freaking out. Like, and again, look, I thought it was stupid, and not because She-Hulk was twerking. I just don't. I'm like, they have like an actual like rapper who's known for a song like that, like, and she's just known for like twerking and stuff. I'm just like, I can't believe this is. I can't believe Disney's putting this out. I can't believe, like, it's just bizarre to me. It's not the fact that it's like people twerking, whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. But it's just a wild concept for Marvel content. Like,
but you have to think about it this way, man. Like, we're in the modern times, especially in that show. Like, it's actually a couple of years later from like the actual timeline that we're in, and it's set in the real world in a sense. Like, if you think about it, because in terms of DC, like if you think about DC, it's like Gotham, Metropolis, and a few areas from the world itself, but it's not set in like the actual full-on real world. So like with the MCU, they can get away with it to be completely fair. They can totally get away with it. Like, if we see something really stupid that we like and we laugh about it, the other audience is going to say the same thing about us. Like, oh, why are they putting this old school stuff in there? Chris Pratt singing "Ooh Child," like that was fun. I liked it. I thought it was a funny concept because apparently Star-Lord loves to dance. He loves his old school music, and so do I. Like, and if Megan Thee Stallion wants to hop in and be a part of the show, like for a cameo, like, I mean, they had to pay her to get in too, so like they're putting in money for that. Plus, I don't know if you guys have seen the bonus featurette for She-Hulk about Tatiana actually being a huge fan of Megan Thee Stallion. They got Megan in for Tatiana.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and they gave her, and they told her that her line was going to be, "I would kill for you, Megan."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just the outrage is hilarious. It feels so weird. I will say I'm kind of the same boat with Finto in terms of like, I saw the scene and like I didn't find it offensive. I just found it kind of lame. I was like, oh, man, it's fucking just lame, dude. Like am I just, I'm a boomer, bro. Am I out of touch? Like, twerking isn't that offensive to me. I grew, I was from the bar scene too of the millennials. Like, twerking is a very common thing, and that's why it's so prevalent with everyone today, because it just is.
I had to explain to my girlfriend who Megan Thee Stallion was.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
she didn't know Yada Yada.
No, absolutely not. She hates all that music. So I was just like, this woman is like, yeah, she's out there.
Yeah,
that's why you're together, man.
Yeah. I love rap music myself, but it's not her cup of tea at all. Like, so I had to just explain that this is a current rapper who just puts out all these outrageous songs and just twerks in videos and stuff. So I was like, that's why you're seeing this right now. I had to explain why she was seeing what she was seeing. Like,
and huge, like a cultural phenomenon, like huge in a way that Britney Spears was huge back in her time. Like that's the level of Megan Thee Stallion. Okay,
well then, like, as you mentioned that, Hoffman, do you remember in, I believe, like Austin Powers? Like, I think it was the third movie. They had Britney in there. When pop sensations come in, and like of the era, like they bring them in.
I remember this, and I remember thinking the exact same thing. Well, this is kind of fucking lame.
Yeah, true. It just doesn't work, bro. It doesn't work.
Right. It's fun for people, but not for me. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Agree.
But I'm not gonna sit here and like rage on the fucking internet. Like, how dare they ruin the sanctity of the fucking MCU, bro? Megan Thee Stallion's ass clapping on fucking TV. No.
Tony Stark died for this.
Yeah, and these same fucking clowns are the same ones who are like, hey man, I want to see the Punisher fucking bloods and guts all over Disney Plus, exploding bodies everywhere. It's the same people saying that, dude. Exactly. So I'm just like, what are we doing?
I know. I find myself saying more and more that I just hate the planet that we live on now. Like I really do. I just can't stand it. And like then, you know, not to jump ahead, but we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. Like that show as well is being like review bombed right now. And I'm like, why? Why is this show being review bombed? Like, and like you go and read all the comments, like, you know, like the reviews, and it's like people like, don't like the female lead. She's too powerful, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, these are just like dickheads. I'm sorry. There's absolute dickheads who are living in the Stone Age who don't like to see female-led shows. Like, she's a badass. Like, that scene where she was fighting the troll was incredible. Like, she's doing the flips and all with the sword. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
If
I was loving it.
That's exactly how a female should be portrayed as a warrior, where she is so technically adept that like she is fucking killing trolls because she is just like she's just a slayer. You know, it's not like she's body slamming the troll.
Agile, small, able to just zip in and out of place. It just made sense to me. Yeah. And like again, I'm not a big Lord of the Rings sweaty, and I'm not a big Game of Thrones sweaty either. So for me, you know, I'm just watching it kind of. I'm the normie here. Like I don't really know like the history of the Rings of Power and all this stuff. So I've heard people saying like, oh look, it's a stunning looking show, but they're messing up the storyline. And like for me, I don't care about that. Like, you know, I'm watching what's put in front of me and I'm liking what I see, you know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one of those moments where I'm pretty sure during the story they were like, well, who should we put in? Who are notable faces that we should have in terms of like storyline? Galadriel and Elrond are pretty good choices.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely understand why they went with these two.
Yeah. Like I don't want to get too deep off the cliff here, because we're on She-Hulk, but like you guys are right. Like it's like the amount of Tolkien aficionados who are deeply committed and chained to the Bible of Tolkien's work that I did not realize existed on the internet. Like the amount of like Tolkien historical accuracy that these people know about. They're like, dude, I know all the information about Tolkien's every last word. This is not it. I'm just like, what? Where?
Did I hear that like the Tolkien family didn't even like the Peter Jackson movies?
Yes.
So I'm like, you know, like they don't like it. So what? Like, you know, like, you know, I don't think you need to be that hardcore to the author of the book and his family. And if they don't like something, you can't like it. I think that's a bit of a... Dude, it's a bit of a stupid way to live, I think, to be honest. Like, you know, have your own fucking opinions. Like, watch it, and if you don't like it, fair enough. But don't not like something because somebody else doesn't like it. That makes no sense to me.
Yes, if Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings came out today, people would be raging on the internet for the way he adapted it, because he left stuff out. He left out some big things, but like he adapted it. He was like, "This is a movie. This is not a book. We don't have time to do all this," and he adapted it. In the same way that these Amazon writers are adapting, you know, the Silmarillion. Like, it's just, there's things they need to add. There's a lot of things they need to cut. I'm not a deep lore expert. I do get like kind of, you know, a little annoyed when canon stuff gets changed, like in Star Wars, for sure. I'm not without sin in that regard, but just the level of like vitriol that people have had because of what they've had to do in this Amazon show. I'm just like, dude, where did this fucking energy come from, bro?
Yeah, it's really wild to me.
And it's pretty much like with the Walking Dead kind of situation. Walking Dead strayed far from the path, like early seasons, like things were changed drastically. Andrea should have been dead like within a few like episodes.
Yeah.
And they didn't kill her.
This is the thing though, like stories are adapted for TV in different ways, and they're told differently, they're paced differently. And then there's like real world stuff that happens where, like, you know, I think I remember hearing that they had planned to kill her, but she became such a fan favorite that they were like, shit, we can't kill her now, we have to keep her in. So they got to start rewriting stuff. So yeah, it's different media, like, you know, to be like, a book is a book and that's it, and the way the author writes it, that's it. The way it's published, that's it. It's one and done. That's the final cut. Whereas there's just so many other things that come into like TV shows. They get people to rewrite these stories, and like you'll always see like written for TV or adapted for TV. So yeah, I just don't know. I really don't know. I don't like these people. How some of these people live just really shocks me. Like that, you know, they're just bandwagoners. Like they just jump on straight away. Like, and how people were like review bombing She-Hulk from a fucking trailer, and they hadn't even seen one episode of it yet, and they're like, it was sitting on like a 5 on IMDb. Like it's just shocking to me. And now that this show is now doing the same thing, I fully absolutely believe that IMDb need to do something about their rating system. Like, I know we had mentioned it before, and I was thinking maybe She-Hulk's just a once off, but now that this show, a show that like they've literally put $1 billion into developing, and the show is absolutely fucking stunning. It's incredible. And this is getting photobombed just for stupid shit. Like, they really need to let the whole series air and then be like, okay, now tell us what you think. Like,
it's nitpickers, man. Like, and for some people that are actual reviewers, they got to get their money's worth. If they think that something would be great to like review bomb, then by all means, as long as it makes them money. So I can see why certain like influencers would do that. But I completely agree with you, Finto. Like the herd mentality of that kind of shit is just toxic. It's just ridiculous.
Insane. It's absolutely insane. And like, I feel like I'm getting to a point now where I actually can't rely on checking a rating of something, because like I just feel now like it's tainted, like,
For sure. And I like the audience review score on Rotten Tomatoes has ruined Rotten Tomatoes. And I know that there's a lot of people who claim that like, oh, you just don't want honest feedback from the community and all that. I just don't think those people are arguing in good faith. I think they know what's up and they're just being coy about it, and trying to be like little trolls about it. Like, oh man, She-Hulk got review bombed, but look at this other show that was good and didn't get review bombed. It's like, dude, there's cultural aspects, there's hive mind thinking that go into all this shit and all this audience reviews, and you can see it, and like you can just see it. And people who claim that it's not there, you are just not arguing in good faith. Like they're just being trolls.
Right. And one of the best examples I can think of now is like influencers on Twitch, like any of the high end streamers. You just see waves and waves of chat just doing the exact same thing because they think it's funny, and because they, they want to be part of it. They want to be part of the crowd. They want to, it's just like they might have had a different opinion, but because everyone else is doing it, it's like, oh, well, I better jump in because I don't want to be, the person that's not on the wagon.
Yeah.
Once you start thinking about the internet as just like thousands and thousands and thousands of 16-year-olds, like it all just makes way more sense. It just makes a lot more sense.
It really does. It really does. Like, all you need to do is go in and start reading chat in a very big channel, like, and you see it straight away. You can tell. I can nearly tell the age of people by the shit that they just type in chat. Like, it's wild.
Just nonstop people, everything.
Yeah.
Did you guys actually? I don't know if you guys ever check Reddit, but did you guys check the Marvel memes like subreddit?
No.
Though, like that place was just covered in She-Hulk memes, like nonstop about the whole twerking situation.
Yeah.
And some people actually had some funny comments that like weren't so much about the twerking. They were like, "I'm not upset about the fact that she twerk. I'm upset about the fact that that the proportions look weird."
Yeah. CGI of the twerk was pretty shit. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, it's like it was just outrageous. Like, oh, bro. Will we just move on to Lord of the Rings? I think it's probably best to. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I just gotta say, like, even like I was 10 minutes into the first episode of this show, and I just said to myself straight away, I turned to my girlfriend, I was like, well, I can see where they're spending the budget on this thing. Right. It is absolutely stunning. Like, the world is just incredible to look at. Like, I felt like I was watching a movie. Like, I felt like I was watching Lord of the Rings, like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, but just made now. You know what I mean? I felt like that's it. Like, it genuinely, each episode feels like a movie. It's insane.
Yeah. The level of quality, like you're saying, even on simple shots, you can see like the high fidelity of the cameras they're using. When you can see like the wrinkles and the pores and stuff on people's skin while you're watching it, feels like a movie. Yeah. Like you said, like the world building, the entire scene where they were scaling the ice wall was just spectacular, man.
Yeah, it really was.
Better than a lot of the movies we're seeing, especially from the MCU with the CGI. It's just a gorgeous thing to look at. The score of this thing felt that classic Lord of the Rings kind of like depressing overtures of long notes and stuff that just, it felt good to be back inside of Tolkien's universe.
Fact. Yeah, it really did. It was stunning. And like, it's one of those shows where I don't personally mind just sitting and watching these people have conversations. It's like, it's Game of Thrones style storytelling, like where, you're sitting in like looking at the little hobbits or whatever, and they're all Irish, by the way, which is hilarious. But it's like you're just sitting listening to them talk absolute nonsense, but you're just absolutely like just laser focused on it.
Are they hobbits? I thought they were
I know,
different.
yeah, they're like they look like half-foots.
They're just halflings in general. Okay.
Yeah. I think they're called half-foots. I think I'm pretty
half-foots or something like that. Yeah, I think you're right.
They're the ancestors to the hobbits.
I was going to say they become hobbits, right? So yeah,
well,
that makes sense.
And like I don't follow Lord of the Rings that well, and I'm sure Hoffman like follows it much more than I do. So can you explain to me? So why is it called Middle Earth in a sense? Because I, to be completely fair, I thought Middle Earth was just an age within the world itself. Like it was the Middle Ages for them.
It's called Middle Earth because it's the middle of the earth.
Yeah, it's I was about to say, isn't it just it's an island in the center of the earth?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like there's the east and there's the west and then there's Middle Earth. There it is. Largely where the humans are and stuff. So it's cool. Tolkien has a lot of like naming stuff that he does, but I think Middle Earth was my favorite, honestly. It's just like so straight up and sounds so epic.
It sounds great.
Yeah, I love the entire opening of this show too. I thought it was really well done when you have Gladriel just like, narrating, giving all the exposition about what it is and like what's going on. And, you just start thinking about it in terms of like Tolkien's life and the whole thing's like an allegory to like World War I leading into World War II. Like it felt so good. That first battle scene they did with the elves versus the orcs felt so huge, man. I couldn't believe we were watching that on TV. The only thing I think that's not necessarily working for this show is that it's too big, too fast. It feels like we're juggling too much without really establishing characters that we really like love and want to focus on. Something I think that really works about Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, and this is how the book went. You really sit with the hobbits for a long time in the very beginning, and you're with the hobbits, and it's the hobbits and the hobbits and the hobbits until we start, opening up where this one is kind of like right out of the gates. It's like everybody, just all at once. And I think that kind of lack of focus makes me less drawn into these. Kind of similar to House of the Dragons and Game of Thrones, where it's like with Game of Thrones, you really started with the Starks for like the first episode, and you established yourself with them and cared about them, and then they started opening the world up. I think the same thing kind of is happening with Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragons. Rings of Power and House of the Dragons, where it's like it's so much at once. It's like you don't really make a connection with anybody, because I don't feel really connected to anybody within Rings of Power yet.
Do you think? Sorry, Finto. I wanted to ask. Do you think that it's mainly because they assume that you've watched the more like the regular movies first, like the starting movies?
I was about to say the exact same point. Yeah, like yeah. I think that's why they do it, and I think Game of Thrones is the same. I think why we're going straight into the Game of Thrones, like all this, like, because the stuff that's happening right now in the House of the Dragon. It felt like that stuff didn't really start happening until like season 2 of the show, where like all like the backstabbing and all that sort of stuff happened. Like, and I think it's just because you can dive in a lot quicker now because people know the family names. Everyone knows the Lannisters, they know the Starks, blah blah blah. And same with Lord of the Rings. Like we all know who the hobbits are. We know the orcs. We know who the elves are. We know who the dwarves are and all this stuff. So it's like, let's just start bouncing around. Like, I think it's just easier to do it because people are just well more established. Whereas if Rings of Power came out first before Lord of the Rings, I would say we would stick with the elves for a while and then start like seeing orcs and all that sort of stuff. Like, so
sure. But I think the writers are also like kind of losing the focus on that, right? Because you're right. Like we know everything and everything's established, and you're jumping in. You don't have to teach us about the world and do the world building. So it kind of feels like you can just start telling big stories right away. But at the same time, you're telling a different story of the characters, and the story should be about the characters and stuff. And so it's like they don't give you someone to love, someone to fall in love with, and like just sit you with that person and let you like be pulled into that person's dialogue and writing and personality. And I think that it's going to take a while for these shows to, have the same appeal as Lord of the Rings, because you didn't love the Lord of the Rings necessarily because of the campaign and the Brotherhood and them taking the ring to Mount Doom. You fell in love with Lord of the Rings because of Frodo and Sam. It's like they were like the focus. It's like this little thing. This is why you love the story, is because of these two people.
Right.
And I think they lose that when they're attacked too much of the world at once.
Right. And like I completely agree, because when you watch the first Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, it's literally just nonstop hobbits for a good like 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And then we kind of get a little bit more introspective of what other races are doing. But then we go back to the hobbits. And then like, you start collecting your team, but you maintain yourself on these hobbits so that like these are important people that you need to watch, you need to make sure that they stay alive. And I completely agree with you, Haman. When it started this show for Rings of Power, it was crazy seeing like 3 different stories happening at once. Like you have Nori, and then you have Galadriel, and then you have Elrond, and it's like, I know Elrond and Galadriel within the same area, but like they split off, so then it becomes separate stories. And so like now it's just like, well, now I gotta know what Galadriel's doing. Now I gotta know what Elrond's doing. Now I need to know what Nori's doing. Like I would have loved for it to be just as you said, Hoffman, where we start off with the halflings first and just kind of build that up. You get to know those characters and then get into the elves.
Sure, or like any of them. If we would have set with Gladriel for the entire first episode, I'd have been perfectly fine, because I thought her story was really important to open up the show. Her, what it means for Sauron to come back. We could have explored that more through her character, the struggle of them on the conquest to go find, the sigil and what happened to the orcs afterwards. I think we could have been down with that, and then her showing up in Linden at the very end of that episode could have been like the way to start opening it up. Like, oh yeah, here's Elrond. And then at the very end, we'll show you the hobbits. And so I think you would just, falling in love with her as a character, one like full stop, would have been a better way to open up the series.
Can I ask something about the timeline? So, and maybe you don't know this, but where is this base? Like in the storyline, so they're obviously looking for Sauron, right? Has the big fight happened where like Sauron gets the ring cut off his finger? Has that happened yet? No, that's going to be like the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the show ends, and then there's a gap, and then we go to Fellowship or whatever, or the Hobbit.
Spoiler alert: the guy who Elrond is with, the Elven Master Craftsman, whatever, he is the one who eventually creates the rings.
I knew it. I like 100% had that feeling the moment I saw that hammer. I'm like, this hammer is special. And it's going to be used like near the end of the show.
Yeah. So I was kind of wondering, like, because obviously like Sauron has disappeared, but I was thinking like, has he disappeared because he's lost the ring? And I didn't know which way they were telling the story. So yeah.
No, it's Sauron. He's like off. He's kind of hidden right now. I'm not even sure which wizards are there. Like, I'm not even sure if Gandalf is necessarily on the planet yet or in Middle Earth yet. Which you can discuss, because the stranger character that they have who shows up by comment at the end of episode 1. A lot of it could be Gandalf, could be a handful of other people too. So we're very, very early in the Lord of the Rings timeline right now.
What's the lifespan or like the time span of like wizards? Like, because I was thinking like, could this is like so long ago on the timeline, can Gandalf be that old? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay.
The elves are still alive, and the wizards are way older than them. The wizards in this think of them as like angels. That's something that they don't really explore in the Lord of the Rings movies, but they're actually like, deity like figures.
Okay, so Gandalf could be alive in this timeline.
Yes.
Technically.
Yeah, he's definitely alive. It's just not sure where he is.
Wow. And okay, I thought this was way before Gandalf's time.
Right, and it's mainly due to all the magic that they learned. Correct? Like they learn so much, and they're basically like intertwined with like the magic.
I don't know that.
You don't know? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm loose.
I'm definitely interested to see more. The whole comet thing made zero sense to me. I was just like, I presume this guy's a wizard, but like, how is he, like, where is he coming from? Like, and why doesn't he understand anything? Like, where's he been? Like, I suppose obviously there's mystery there and we need to watch more, but Yeah, it just that whole thing, it made zero sense to me. I didn't know what was going on.
Dude, here's what's gonna blow your mind. Like, you know, Gandalf, I don't know if you know this or not, but Balrog, who Gandalf fought in Lord of the Rings, right? The first movie, the big fiery demon, whatever.
Yeah.
They're the same race. They're brothers. They're actually like, you know what I mean? So that's why when he's fighting him, it's such an epic scene, but you just don't even know it in the movies. But like, he's fighting one of his own kind there.
That is insane. Yeah. That is new information for me.
So it's like the madness of a wizard, something that transformed him, or
it could be. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't go that deep on Lord of the Rings as much as I really want to, and need to spend time in that lore universe. I just know that they're the same, one and the same. They're brothers. Like, it's really, that's a hard fight for Gandalf to take.
Yeah,
like, I gotta remember that you know, you don't have all the information. I just think immediately, I'm like, Hoffman's read some stuff. I'm sure he has everything.
Yeah.
Well, give me 1 week. We're deep diving, baby.
I find it refreshing not really knowing stuff and going in as a normie for things like this, and for Game of Thrones. Like, I enjoy it, you know, because I kind of feel like I'm viewing it like how a kind of standard person would view it. Whereas, like, you know, when we're talking about DC and Marvel and stuff, it's like, you know, we all read the comic books and watch cartoons and stuff. We all know so much about that, and Star Wars as well. Like I'm deep on Star Wars. Like, so it's just refreshing to have something that, like, again, I don't know anything about. I'm just sitting back and I'm enjoying the ride, you know?
No, it's good. And, you know, hell, that stranger character could even be Sauron. You know, you don't know where Sauron is. You don't know what he's doing. It could be him. The way he controlled fire was pretty ominous. So that's a good setup. That's a good tie-in. But I really enjoyed the first episode overall. I thought that was the stronger of the two episodes. Once we got to episode 2, I really felt like it lost focus. You know, the end of episode 1 with Galadriel jumping off the ship was such a fucking great scene. And then we lead into episode 2, and it was just, I thought the whole thing was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was all over the place. I mean, although, like, my favorite scene so far had to have been Elrond challenging the dwarves to, like,
that was
a breaking contest.
That was fun. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. The dialogue between the two of them was really good. Like, you know, it's like, he doesn't think anything of it because 20 years is nothing to an elf. So he's just like, oh yeah, you know, I meant to come back, and, you know, I meant to pop in, but you know, life got in the way, sort of thing. And he's like, you missed, like, my wedding and the birth of my kids and everything. Like, you know, he's like, half his life is over. Like, it's just, I thought that was a really cool touch, and just a really good kind of dynamic for those two characters. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I mean, like, it, and that feels so lively for the world itself too. Like, hey man, you missed my wedding. You missed my
fuck
kids.
you, bro. Like, how could you do that to me? Like, I thought we were friends. Yeah, it's real. It's real shit, you know.
Like, you apologize to my wife right now and then leave.
Yeah, it's epic, dude. It's epic. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what was my favorite parts of it. I think the orc scene, like that fighting scene at the start, was great, and I loved the ice troll or snow troll or whatever they called it as well. Like, that scene was cool.
Yeah.
Who do you think the kid? Like, do you think that the kid, you know, the kind of the elf that we're following, that's like crawling through the tunnels and shit, do you think, like, he's that kid's dad? I kind of feel like he is, because if you've noticed, his hair's real long and it's covering his ears for a reason and stuff. And I'm like, his haircut's like, I guarantee you there's going to be a reveal where you're going to see his ears, and I bet you he's got, like, kind of half little pointy ears, and I bet you he's going to be like half elf. Because I'd say he's definitely smashing your one. Like, has to be, bro.
100%.
Has to be. He's clapping those cheeks for sure.
It feels that way, but how's the kid not know he's got elf ears, man?
This is what I'm saying. Like, it's like, I think he's living in denial or something. Like, you know.
I guess you don't got mirrors back then, right? So he's like, oh yeah, my ears are normal. I don't know.
I don't know if they had mirrors. Like, maybe he had to go and, like, look at the reflection of, like, a river or something. Like,
his mom just keeps him away from lakes his whole life. He just wants to swim.
Yeah, you can't swim. But yeah, like, and he has that, like, blade, or the handle of that blade, like, and then it's, like, growing with the blood and stuff. I thought that was a really cool scene, but again, I don't know what any of it means. I'm just kind of, like, watching it going, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I presume that blade belonged to Sauron, or he's touched it anyway.
Dude, no one knows.
Yeah.
You know, I did hear one of the breakdown channels talking about this, where there was suspect that it might be a certain blade, which is like a legendary one that would be really important, and that was kind of like what you're talking about. But then they're like, well, they don't have rights to that blade because it was in one of the books that they didn't buy the rights to, because there's
for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go again.
So Amazon, I guess, for all the money they spent, they didn't get the full rights to everything. There's still like a handful of things out there that they can't really use or touch. And so that's also why they got to make changes that people are going to be upset with.
Do you think that there's going to be any characters from, or any actors from, like, say, Lord of the Rings, like the Peter Jackson movies, that could potentially show up in this?
I don't think so. The only ones that would probably be, Hugo and whoever the actress is that played Glandriel.
If they did like a time jump or something, like forward in time.
It doesn't even have to be that long, but if this show is leading up to the very final or the first battle of Lord of the Rings, the movie, that's when Elrond was, Hugo, and he was leading the army of elves. But he's a much different elf right now. He's not a warrior. He's very much just a politician.
I hope we run into like a really like young Legolas. I think that'd be really sweet.
That's possible.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Really cool.
That would be cool. Like, obviously, like, not Orlando Bloom, but like if you just got a little like kid in, like a 10-year-old kid to play, like, learning to like shoot the bow and stuff, I think that'd be really sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get into House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon. I'm down.
Yeah. Bro.
Man. This last episode of House of the Dragon, it once again just like blown away that I am just so happy to be in the game or the Song of Ice and Fire universe. Like they got me, bro. Like, I'm so mad that they pulled me back in. Like, I'm excited for next week, or I guess tonight.
Yeah.
I'm just pumped for it. I really did appreciate the subtle time jump they did to get, just pick the story up a little bit faster and not like kind of spin their wheels on the time period that they're in. But yeah,
there's multiple time jumps coming, right?
Yes,
because they're going to start replacing actors for characters soon.
Yeah, I think there's 4 that are getting replaced.
Yeah, dude. I was quite shocked. Again, there's like a lot of shock value in the first episode I found with Queen Emma dying and stuff like that, and I'm looking over at my girlfriend Emma pregnant as well. Like, I'm just like, oh God, I can't watch this. And then now this week, the king walking around with a 12-year-old girl. Like, and again, nothing happens, but the way that they shot that scene, and it's just implied of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And you're just watching him walk down the road with a child that he's like being arranged to marry. Like, I was shivering. Like, I was just disgusted by it.
Cringe.
And again, like, nothing happened. They were just having an innocent conversation walking down the road, but just the way everything's built up, you just, I don't know, like, they can just portray stuff so like vividly to people. Like, yeah, it's so uncomfortable, like it, but it's fantastic.
And kind of historical accurate. You know what I mean? Like, you hear these stories, but like you don't really like see them or like vision them in your mind. And then you see something like Game of Thrones, you're like, oh my God, like what the fuck was happening back then?
Exactly. Like, dude's old enough to be my dad, and he's the little girl is nearly as old as the young lad living in my house. Like, I'm just like, it's sick, it's sick. But it was, as you say, it was normal at the time. And even when he's, when she was talking to the mother and she's like, oh, it's fine. Like, I don't have to bed him until I'm like 14 or something. I'm just like, even still, still, bro, weird. That's disgusting. Like,
Yeah. But they wanted to keep the bloodline pure. And that's all it has to be, man. Like that's the only reason why they're like, oh, well, wed my daughter. Like, she's part of the bloodline. Keep it pure, keep it steady. Mm-hmm. That way you can sire like new heirs and keep the Valerian name going.
Yeah. Love the way they open up the episode with the crab eater establishing that person from the Free Cities as like a really horrifying villain. I thought those scenes with the crabs eating people was Jesus,
bro, it was tough. Yeah, it was tough to watch.
So like
makes me shiver.
Yeah,
it makes me shiver. Like,
and really establishes like a threat and like, hey, the king's not doing nothing here. And this like horrifying event stuff is going down, and like he's doing nothing. He only cares about himself. He only cares about what's going on in King's Landing. Once again, here we are.
Yeah,
I love that type of stuff.
Well, one thing I want to know is like, do they need to clean that throne or something? Because he's just not like his skin starts to fester anytime he gets cut by it.
Interesting, very weird. Conspiracies right there. Who's putting this stuff on the throne?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
do you think someone is? Yeah, someone is trying to, and I think this is the dude who's the hand, right? Is the is the father of the girl he's chosen to marry.
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I can't think of names right now. But yeah, like, would you think like he's potentially, doing something malicious to, kill him off, and then she's the queen, so maybe he's got some sort of tie to the throne then or something. I don't know.
Right. Otto Hightower, who is not even like the leader of his house, right? Like he's just a second son. You can tell he's scheming. I don't think they're fully letting you on that he's scheming, but he feels like a Littlefinger type of character where he's got big plans. He wants to get his heir in place, and then like, oh yeah, let's kill the king off real quick after that happens. Because they had the king put his hand in a bowl of maggots to start healing up his hand. It was just disgusting.
Eating away the skin and all. Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I can't believe that works.
Yeah, like, isn't that like what that's why they put like leeches on people and all, like, because just to like get rid of like blood infections and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, like it's all like,
maggots will eat the bacteria.
Like, that's the way it was. Yeah, eat off all the dead skin.
Is the king supposed to have dragon blood in him? Like, is he supposed to be immune to fire?
Targaryens in general have dragon blood in them. I don't know if all of them are immune to fire because of it, or if that's just like kind of a select few of them. Magic is really hit or miss in the Game of Thrones universe. George R. R. Martin's not like a high fantasy, huge magic user, and the shows have even less magic than the books did, so it's debatable,
Yeah, so obviously all the Targaryens don't have that immunity to fire because, if I'm remembering back to the first season of Game of Thrones, didn't like Daenerys's like cousin or brother or whatever, didn't he get burned or whatever?
Yeah.
Or he was kind of melted or whatever.
Yeah, he had a thing of gold, melted gold spilt on him, and I don't think that their bloods are made of gold. Or their blood's filled with gold.
I thought it was just heat, like, because the way doesn't she go into that like scalding bath and she doesn't even feel anything.
Yeah.
So it's like I thought it was just heat, like. Well,
yeah. Like they basically tested out if he was dragonborn or not.
Yeah. That's great, dude. Man, that's great.
But the show, like, honestly, is really good. I enjoy it. I just think that in my head, I'm predicting a little too much. Like when I saw that, his cousin or I can't remember the guy's name who wanted to like wed the daughter to the king. Like I already had the suspicion that if he was gonna refuse and that he was gonna join up, like he was gonna get mad and join up with the brother Damon. Because it's just this whole situation of I'm assuming that the king's going to create bad blood. People are going to join up with Damon. Damon's going to get a large enough army and just be like, let's fucking go and get him.
Let's take it. Yeah.
When Damon was going in on the king and telling him that no one has his best interest at heart, like he's being his brother, he wasn't really lying. Like Viserys is a weak king and all the people that surround him are just trying to take advantage of him. Right. Like he was pretty spot on about that. So people like Otto Hightower, people like Corlys, they do kind of are scheming for their own deals. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see his character kind of play out, especially because his wife was the one who was supposed to be the queen or whatever. He had the best claim, and then none of the lords wanted her as queen or king.
Yeah,
so weird. The queen that never was.
Right.
Yeah. I love that scene where she was talking to the young character. I can't think of her name.
Rhaenyra.
Yeah. But they were having to say it's like, you look, she's like, oh, I'm going to be the queen, like, and it's like, you won't, because I had the rightful claim and the men didn't vote me in, so the same thing's going to happen to you. So don't get your hopes up, like, this is what's actually going to happen. So do something else with your life, like, Yeah, it's crazy.
Great scene, man. Great scene.
Yeah.
Dude, the scene where Daemon and Rhaenyra, whatever, were there with the dragons, Otto Hightower goes to Dragonstone, and they're talking on that bridge, and the fucking dragon coming up from the clouds underneath the bridge. That scene was so good, man.
Yeah, it was.
It's from that fog or whatever. Ooh.
Yeah, it was stunning looking. It was really, really cool. Loved it.
And yeah, the fact that they do the standoff, like those are always like the funniest moments, because it's like, well, they're not going to kill each other for any reason, because it's like, if you want to take me, take my head right now, but then you'll die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions for what's going to happen tonight?
Ooh, I don't.
How many episodes are there going to be? Do we know?
I'll look it up real quick. That's a dragon.
Because I presume the first time jump's going to be fairly soon. Then my guess is that because the main kind of focus of the storyline now is that the king's like his bloodline is so weak. So I presume it's going to jump a few years ahead, and he might have a couple of sons or something like that, just to strengthen the line. Maybe.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
That's what I guess.
10 episodes total, so we've seen 3. We got 7 to go after tonight.
2, right?
We've seen 2, so tonight's the 3rd one. Then we got 7 after that. So
yeah.
So then we're gonna get one Rings of Power, one House of the Dragon, or did episode 2 already drop?
So Rings of Power was the first 2 episodes. Yeah. There was 2 episodes, so we'll be getting episode 3 of Rings of Power and episode 3 of House of the Dragon technically in the same week.
Okay.
I'd love to know what the 2 companies think of each other. Like, the fact that, they're kind of going head to head. And I don't know if you guys saw the numbers, but the Lord of the Rings, like, viewership was insane. 25 million households in the first 24 hours. Yeah. Like, those numbers are mental. Like, She-Hulk or Miss Marvel, I think, was hitting like 1 million. This is 25 times the size of Miss Marvel. Like, it's huge. Like, huge.
Yeah, and it didn't even feel like Amazon was overdoing the hype either. It felt like they were like pretty dialed in. They had a good ad campaign going, but they weren't like everywhere in the same way like Game of Thrones is. Like Game of Thrones promotion was everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think Prime now because, and I think it was very clever in a way that they, like kind of the main stuff that I saw about the show was just to the fact that it's $1 billion show. It's the most expensive show ever made. And I think that's all you need to hear, really. Like, because like a lot of people are going to be like, this is the most expensive show ever made. Let's fucking see what it's about. Like,
Right.
So I think they're going to get a lot of eyes on it just for that reason alone. And then 10 minutes in, again, as I said already, like 10 minutes in, I was like, yeah, I can see it already. Like, I think I saw today, I think each episode of the show is running about 65 million in production like costs.
That's nuts.
65 million. Like, I don't think the show's gonna can the show make back the $1 billion? I don't know. I would hope so, because if they're gonna continue with this and make a season 2 and season 3, you can't just suddenly drop off. Like, you're gonna have to keep this quality going.
Yeah. And yeah, you're right, man. It's like one season costs this much money. Can they do it season over season? Do they make the $1 billion back? I think they do. I think Amazon Prime really needed something huge to kind of set them apart and like thrust Amazon Prime Video to the next level. And I think it does that. This thing is going to be there forever, for the foreseeable future. And I think that's something that's kind of short-sighted a lot of the times about what Disney Plus does with their shows on MCU and Star Wars. It's that they kind of lowball these budgets and don't give them as much money as they probably should, because these things are going to exist in these universes for the next 50 years. And this Lord of the Rings movie, TV show is going to go. People are going to be able to go back and watch this thing over and over because it looks so good and so realistic that it just forever has a home.
Yeah. Like I always find if I go back and watch like Fellowship, like I think Fellowship came out in like 1999, if I'm not mistaken, or 2000, something like that.
Look.
Yeah, I think it's like 99. So like that realistically, didn't they? I think they filmed all 3 of those movies at the same time, back to back. So, realistically, I think the production of that show those movies probably started in like 98. So like, you got to think like how good those movies still look today is incredible. Like it's an incredible thing. And yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Like this show is going to stand up for probably another 10, 15, 20 years. Like no problem.
Yep. And we got to have something to while we wait on The Boys as well.
I actually I think Amazon put out a lot of good stuff. Like, I watched the John Krasinski show on it. I thought it was really good. And even that Jack Reacher show with what's your man's name? The dude who was in Titans and
I don't know, the fucking mammoth of a person.
Oh, he's a fucking freak of nature. Like he's a giant. But like his show was pretty good as well. Like, so like, I think Amazon put out some really good shit. And obviously The Boys is incredible. And Invincible was incredible as well.
Yeah, no, I think Amazon Prime is honestly a really solid platform, but I think I don't think they've, outside of The Boys, maybe they really don't have too many things that like set it apart. And it's like, this is the front end of like movie or TV making. Like this is the cutting edge. In the same way that like when you watch Game of Thrones, it's like that's the number one show you should be watching. Everyone's talking about it. I'm not necessarily sure Amazon's ever had that. Even with The Boys, I don't think that there were people that are like, this is must see TV. Just because like superhero stuff is kind of niche a little bit, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I know that I get shocked when I hear that they haven't watched The Boys.
Right.
You know, like my girlfriend's brother had never seen it until recently, and you got to binge all of it together. And I was like, you lucky bastard, like getting to binge all that together. Like, it's incredible. But the fact that the show's been out for 3 years now and you don't know what it is shocking to me, you know?
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I think that's why they invested. Jeff Bezos is he's quoted as saying like he wanted a Game of Thrones show. Like he wanted it. Like go out and get it. Go out and make that, spend the money.
Yeah.
And I think they got that with Lord of the Rings, because however this thing plays out, there's no denying that this is like one of the best things we've ever watched in terms of like visuals. Like it's better than so much. It's better than, Peter Jackson's. Yeah, those movies do have their moments where they had to use CGI and 3D and stuff like that. And those moments don't hold up, but overall they do. The movies like hold up because they did so much stuff with practical effects.
Yeah.
But I see stuff like this, when they're the scale of the shots they're doing in this are like, it's what I see in my mind when I think about fantasy, man.
Right. Do you think that as the success, like if this is completely successful, if this like pushes everything in the proper direction, especially like with both Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, do you think we're going deeper into an era of the Middle Ages again? Do you think we're getting into that Middle Age fantasy kind of run in again?
I don't know, man, because there are these breakaway hits like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings now, but there's also the Wheels of Time, which are like, boo, there are the Witchers, which are great, but it's not like those were hits that like knocked it out of the park in terms of viewership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know that? And I was only talking about the viewership for Miss Marvel being like 1/25 of the viewership for this, like a show, Peacemaker, that we all loved. The viewership for that was terrible. Like Miss Marvel knocked that show out of the water. So that'll tell you, like, it doesn't even technically matter the quality of the show, because I think Peacemaker is probably better than any of the Marvel shows that we've seen on Disney Plus.
100%.
But no one's watching it. It's insane.
And not only are they not watching it, they're like criticizing it. They're like, dude, this show sucks, bro.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the clips of John Cena dancing? Yuck. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, that fucking scene was so fucking good. How is anyone complaining? And you haven't even watched it.
I know, dude. It's back to just hating the planet that we live on. I fucking say it. I'm saying it once a day at this stage. Like, I just honestly can't stand it. It's
I herd mentality, bud. It's the people who don't know how to think properly and don't want to go deeper into a show to ultimately realize that they love that kind of shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you guys heard that. It's like thundering.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that was.
That's Florida, baby.
I thought it was like a desk moving or something. It sounded like kind of like something like being pushed or something.
Someone just slammed a door.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've got virtual rain behind me, so like I don't know what that came from.
There's been a lot of rain here this weekend as well. So yeah, we're rain themed on the podcast this week. So yeah. Apologies for anyone who might be listening to this on Spotify. Like I don't like. I'm trying to think, is there any other bits that we've kind of left out? But I think we've kind of covered everything, really, to be honest.
Yeah, for the most part. Oh, jeez, man.
I actually saw lightning. I saw your room light up there.
If you guys lose me, it's been fun.
I think the weather is trying to tell us that it's time for us to go.
It's been a great week of TV, bro. Like, the She-Hulk feels like a real quick show you can just get in and out of.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones again is like carrying itself, and then I thought Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is off to a fantastic start. Been very happy with the TV watching this week.
Did you notice that? Because I've always kind of complained about Amazon's like user interface for their app. It's always been shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is terrible. And then a week before this show comes out, we get a brand new GUI. Like, I'm like,
Clean.
I'm like, you fantastic bastards. Like, well done. Well done, sir. Because they knew there'd be so many new eyes coming onto the app. So you got to have a good looking app for all these new people that are going to come on and go, actually, I'm going to keep this. This is amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what
appreciate it, Amazon.
Yeah, I do too. It's great. And I don't know what the app is like for it, because I know obviously dealing in different regions of the world, like we have different libraries and stuff, but my Amazon used to be fairly shit. Like I would only really watch the Amazon original shows that were, you know, good. I there wasn't really a lot of like kind of backlogs of movies and TV shows, but I'm now noticing as well that there's a lot of like kind of classic movies that are coming out that we don't have on Netflix here and we don't have on Disney here. So like there's more of a reason for me now when I turn on my Apple TV to click on the Amazon app than there used to be. I used to only go there for a specific thing. Now I'm like, there's actually a lot of good content here. So I'm going to actually flick around here and I'm going to find something to watch.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Amazon Prime starts having you pay an extra premium for Prime Video on top of everything, because they are really expanding the quality and the library of their platform. And the fact that you just get that for free with your Amazon Prime, like just owning Amazon Prime in general, is kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then like, you know, you've got obviously Twitch Prime as well. Like, so, you know, the reason why I joined up to Prime in the first place was to get a free sub on Twitch and to have like the cheap or free shipping costs for when you're ordering off Amazon. So like, and then I'm like, oh, there's a TV app here. That's cool. That's a cool little bonus, but I don't really care about that. But now it's like, this is becoming important now. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I guarantee in a couple of weeks, and again, clip this out because it's probably going to happen. Because we predict things here, but I guarantee you there's going to be an email coming through from Prime in a couple of weeks' time, and it's going to be like, we're bumping up the price of Prime. Fact, guaranteed. Yeah. You want to see another season of that show? We need another $1 billion. Bang. Subscriptions are going up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
It almost makes me wish that Amazon would have gotten Star Wars. Because they seem like they just let their creators do their thing. Like, hey, we're $1 billion business. We'll give you money. Just go make good shit, dude. Like, we want to be hands off. We're not writers.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know what you're doing. Go bring us what we want.
Yeah.
And sure. Prime Video, the Prime Video devs have been working very hard, especially since you got that new UI bump. And I'm really hoping that for Disney Plus, like their situation, I absolutely hate their UI. I think I don't
mind it. I don't mind it at all.
It's jank, man. Like, I don't like it. It you can't, like, it pulls you out. Like, you can't get back into your show. Like, you have to double click on it, especially when it goes to credits. And I know it's trying to back on and be like, hey, look, we got some new stuff. But like, it takes a minute. Like, everything is kind of laggy in my opinion. Like, there's hitching. I
find when you're trying to continue watching something. So for example, I'm watching Legion on it at the moment, the X-Men show, which is pretty good, but very fucking trippy. But I'm watching that show at the moment, and the first season ended, and instead of them like automatically starting episode 201 or chapter 11, it left the show altogether and brought me back to the home screen on Disney. And then I couldn't find it in my continue watching. I had to go and search for the show again. And I just thought it was a glitch or something, but maybe that's how it's designed. But again, it doesn't really bother me that much. But like the Amazon one, it just felt like I was using a UI that was made in 2012. Like, you know, it just felt so old. And now the fact that they have it like properly displaying, and like when we open up a movie, it like slides out and shows you the description and stuff. I'm like, they've actually put care into this now. It actually looks great. You know,
it just felt like you were shopping on Amazon.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Terrible.
Yeah, it's so bad. So hard to find stuff. And even just how they laid out stuff, like you'd see like Vikings season 6 and then like 4 tiles over Vikings season 4. I'm like, put all the Viking stuff together, please. Come on. I don't care. Like, I don't need separate ads for different seasons. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah, I'm just so happy.
And I love the trivia. Like, Prime Video is so good with their trivia. If you ever like want to rewatch something and just pull up the trivia on the side, or even just read it, like they'll have moments where like there's a scene and then you'll see like some trivia pop up and you'll be like, oh, such and such. This, like, I think it was about the sword that the elf had. Like, his sword came from, it was like Sylvan, because he's like reminiscent of like a Sylvan elf.
Well, now I need to pull that up and rewatch it, because I didn't know that was going that deep. I thought they just told you the actors in the scene. That's it.
No, it's like really, like, they even did it for The Boys.
Oh, really?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Damn,
And
alright.
I do like the way when you pause it, it shows you the actors' names who were in the scene that you're watching. Because
Yeah.
like it happens so often where you're like, how do I know that person? What's their name? Who's the face? And then you're going onto IMDb and like looking through the whole cast to try and find the person. Whereas when you're watching, I'll probably just pause it and there they are. It's so good. I wanted to develop an app like a long time ago because I had that idea years ago. And I wanted to develop an app that you could like take a picture of your screen or take a screenshot and then just be like, you know, put this person's like, you know, it's like, I know that dude, what else has he been in? And then you could like take a picture of him and it would show you all the other movies he's been in or whatever. I was like, I thought I was going to be a millionaire. I was like, this is the best idea for an app ever. And I never got around to making it. And now I'm like, Prime does it on the fucking thing. I'm like, oh, you bastards.
Should have sent it, man. You had it.
I know, I did. I had it. I actually had it. I had it, bro. And what I love about the Prime thing as well, just one last thing, but I just love when you like, you know, when you like bring up a movie, it has like beside like the runtime, it actually shows you the IMDb rating of it as well. So you just know to steer clear of shit if it's like under a 6. I'm just like, okay, I'm not even gonna look into watching this.
Sure, not anymore.
So one last thing I wanted to pull up and just kind of bring us all the way back to She-Hulk for a second. So the whole situation with Emil Blonsky, that's done. That is one episode. It's over with. They resolved it. He's out. So one of the things I found out, like from reading an article, is that the writers just didn't know how to make like courtroom scenes. So that's why they did it that short, because they didn't want to elongate it and make it look terrible.
I know what you mean, because like I always found like with the Daredevil show, I thought they got the courtroom stuff so good. I always like was blown away by when like Foggy's giving his speeches and when Matt's giving his speeches and they're just like crushing the defense and stuff. I just love that. And I feel like, yeah, if you can't tell that properly, like you need to be able to write that correctly. Absolutely. Right. Like, yeah, you got to be able to. So it kind of shocks me.
Dramas like Writers 101.
Yeah, I was thinking like it's kind of strange that they can't do that. Like, or you know, if you're doing a show called like She-Hulk Attorney at Law, it's like why don't we get some writers in that could do courtroom scenes?
So that's why it went by so quickly. But in doing so, that opens up a window of other possibilities. So before we leave, I want to know, what do you guys think is going to happen next?
With She-Hulk, I definitely think that they got to bring Daredevil in because, you know, who's the next cameo going to be? Like, it's time for him. So I think that we're going to get something involving the Kingpin and having it to do with the group of guys who attacked her. I forget their names. I know there's a name for them in Marvel. Yeah.
What's the story? What's the story with them? Why didn't we? I don't know why we didn't talk about them originally. But
I can't remember like full on, but they are like an original enemy, like villain group to She-Hulk. So like that's just a callback. I'm not sure what's going to happen in terms of like what if they're going to come back. Maybe they're going to have stronger weapons. But one thing I do remember, and I can't believe we didn't even talk about this earlier. Did you guys realize that they mentioned like, you know, they're higher up, they got to go tell the higher up, and that they couldn't stick her with a needle for something? I think they were trying to get her blood.
And fact,
and so my speculation on that is that they're talking about the leader, because the leader wants, you know, the Hulk's blood, and he wants like the Hulk's power for his own. Nice. And so if Jen got it and Jen's around, you know, why not make the leader a villain for She-Hulk?
Sure.
Yeah, I like it. And I think, again, you were talking about the leader there a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I think you're dead right. I think that'd be a really good avenue to go down. And like, I think what are they called? The Wrecking Crew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, they kind of like, they remind me of like the Tracksuit Mafia or whatever for like, it's the same thing, bro. But these guys have Asgard weapons instead. Like,
right. Yeah, I know that they've done work for the Kingpin before in the comic book, so there could be definitely a couple of different directions they could go with that.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Kingpin. I haven't even thought that we'd see Kingpin again before Echo, but you're right. Like Echo, like, you know, wherever Daredevil is, Kingpin's probably not too far behind. So yeah, I think Kingpin would be a really cool little cameo that I didn't even think about for this show.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, dude,
we'll see. Maybe Kingpin goes west.
That'd be
so
sweet.
Exciting.
Maybe that's where he was going, you know, where he was in like the flower shirt and all and the hat, like he looked like he was going on holidays.
So funny.
He was on his way and then he just got shot in the face. Zavin in the chat just asking there, sorry, just before we go. Since we're all gamers, yes, we are. We're all Twitch streamers. Would you like to see a Kingdom Hearts game movie? I've never really played the Kingdom Hearts games, but I know they're kind of like a mix between all different characters from different things, aren't they?
It's pretty much like Disney and Square Enix put together.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm not dying to see a Kingdom Hearts movie, but like I wouldn't hate it if they did one.
I'd watch it.
Yeah,
I'd definitely check it out.
I just feel like Kingdom Hearts has kind of been dated now, and to like start it somewhere it'd be kind of weird. I'm not sure like what kind of kid you would want to get like for that kind of show, and I'm not sure what direction you can go. I think it'd be a little too like convoluted. You know, he's going on different worlds to like basically seal the doors for each world, and
a Square Enix game being convoluted. What are you talking about? What?
Well, I mean we had you remember some of the older like Final Fantasy movies. Do you remember Final Fantasy Spirits Within?
I do. I remember having my whole like convincing my dad to go see that movie, and I think he just like loved me even less that day. He's like, "Oh man,
I can't believe you put me through this."
Taking off.
Jesus Christ!
Just looks over to you. He's like, "Why do you like this shit?"
Yeah.
I'm going to get some milk. Fucking hell, that's a great point to leave the fucking cast for the week, guys. Next episode of the podcast. By the way, I can't believe we're on episode 75. It's kind of crazy. We do one podcast a week, so the fact that we've been doing this for 75 weeks is actually insane to me. But yeah, look, next week we're gonna have She-Hulk episode 4. We're gonna have Lord of the Rings episode 3, House of the Dragon episode 3, and am I right in thinking? I think I am. I think I'm right. We're gonna have D23 as well on top of all that. So you know what I mean. There's gonna be
3-hour cast. 3-hour cast.
Honestly, like I think the cast will be easily 2 hours next week, easily, because we're at an hour and a half right now into this, and we're gonna have the same amount of stuff to talk about again on top of all of the announcements. We've got 8 new Marvel projects coming. We've got new Star Wars projects coming. It's gonna be wild. So yeah, I'm really excited. Next week on the cast is gonna be great. So yeah, we hope to see you there. So
good deal.
Guys, enjoy the rest of your week, and see you on the next one.
Later.